once a month. If you hop in early, you got to give me a second or two to get the chat popped out, let the people in the Discord know we're live streaming, stuff like that. Hope everyone's had a good December so far. Hope everyone's had a good holiday season. You know, some of you guys have probably already done Christmas parties with friends or co-workers. I know my job's Christmas parties already happened. Don't see anyone in here yet, but yeah, I'll just take this time to get set up. Two people. I see two people in here. What's up? I'm just getting set up. If you guys just hopped in, just give me a second to drop this link in my Discord, let people know what's happening, and then I'll pop out the chat and start interacting with you guys in just a second. And if you're not in my free Discord already, hop in there, guys. It's cool. It's a chill vibe. There's like 1,700 people in there, maybe a couple hundred active people. It's not like a forum. It's not like toxic or nothing like that. People generally chill. You know what I mean? Almost done, guys. All right, it's in the live stream. Let me get the chat popped out. Hope everyone's having a good day. 3 people so far. By the way, let me know if the mic's working. Sometimes the mic doesn't work. I did a whole stream one time with the mic wasn't even turned on. All right, I got that chat. Pop it out. All right. We got Corey Morris, 5,800, saying happy Sunday. Happy Sunday indeed, my man. Reluctant audiophile. Hey, Nemo. 5 out of 5. Thank you. That's a funny name, bro. Reluctant audiophile. What are you reluctant about? That's what I would want to know. You know, like what is having you be so reluctant? And by the way, for the few of you that are already in here, guys, always remember you got to hit the like button. I know it's annoying. You know, the YouTubers always say that. But what it does is it tells YouTube to circulate this live stream to more subscribers. Most of my subscribers, you know, I have 35,000 subscribers. Once I start a live stream, YouTube does not tell all 35,000 there's a live stream. YouTube will maybe tell like my first few hundred, and that's it. It will not let anyone else know I'm live streaming unless you give it a bunch of likes. Because if you give it a bunch of likes, the YouTube algorithm's like, oh, the audience likes this, so we will let more of his audience know this is happening. I can't tell you guys how many people have been like, damn, I can't believe I missed the stream. I was online and never popped up on my For You page, stuff like that. It's just how it is, you know what I mean? So please, if you're in here, hit the like button. And you can also click the like button from a TV. You just click up, go to the right, and it'll be right there. But if you're driving, if you're listening to this while you're cleaning the house, you know, no big deal, right? Let me put my own like in there. So there's no, you know, main questions in here. Feliciano says, yo, Nap. What's up, dude? It's a funny name, I know, right? Well, it's funny when you shorten it. Let's kick this off with a comment I just got. This just came in maybe 20 minutes ago. I've never done this. I've actually never read a comment out loud that's not from the stream. But this is a comment someone left on a video where I compared the Radiant Acoustic Clarity 6.2 and Bucart E50. It's from Our Father's Love. He said, hey, since the Purify Ushindi bass drivers were marketed as super low distortion drivers, did you notice this lack of distortion compared to a similarly priced and sized bookshelf with non-Purify bass drivers? Is there truly something to these Ushindi drivers apart from their unique design and expensive prices, according to some speaker manufacturers? So I thought that was a pretty good question. And the truth is, like, on one hand, yeah, there's something special about them, but on the other hand, I do actually feel like they're overhyped quite a bit. When it comes to delivering a lot of bass, they can do that really, really well. That's just a fact. But truth be told, the bass the Radiant Clarity 6.2 gives me isn't too different than something like the Bucart S400 Mark II. I even said it in its own review. Now, the Radiant Acoustic Clarity 6.2, just to be clear, from the mid-range on up, it's on a different level compared to the S400 Mark II. It's much more open. There's more air. There's more space. There's more separation. There's more imaging. You know what I mean? It is a speaker that is, double the price roughly. But if we're talking about just the bass of that Yushindi driver, I don't know. I don't think there's anything incredibly special about it. I did notice in the Radiant Acoustic Clarity 4.2, which is the 4-inch version of that driver, that thing had an amount of bass I've never heard from a 4-inch. But in terms of the 6.5, like, yeah, it can pound. Don't get me wrong. It can absolutely pound, but I've heard other 6.5-inch drivers pound and have really, really powerful bass too. So, yeah, to answer Our Father Love's question about the Yushindi driver, I wouldn't say I noticed any reduction in distortion or anything really special about it. It's a good woofer, don't get me wrong, but ultimately I do feel it's a little overhyped. Yeah. I need to type that up too, because that was a written question on my video, and he's probably not in here, so I'll holler at him and actually type that up when I'm off the stream. Craig says, "Happy Sunday. Got some snow in CT. Happy holidays. Happy holidays, man. Snow is nice. I lived in Denver for a while. We would get snow there. I'm in Southern California now. We're just not getting any snow. If you want to see snow in Southern California, you got to go snowboarding up in Big Bear or Mountain High, or you got to live in like the Antelope Valley. They'll see some snow. Not every year, but a few times. Like every few years is what I mean. They'll get some snow." CC750 says he missed the YouTube channel name change. What's behind that? So it's pretty simple, bro. The previous name, I don't want to really get into it too much, but it's really simple. Just the algorithm wasn't a fan of it. It sounded like it could be divisive. It could sound like I might be here talking about current events and things like that. And I'm not, you know what I mean? I don't talk about the news. This isn't a news channel. This is not a divisive channel. We just talk about hi-fi. So causing confusion in the algorithm. And if you pay attention, many YouTubers with channels way smaller than mine have popped up, kind of out of nowhere, kind of like I did, right, a few years ago. And their channels are bigger than mine now, right? Why is that? Is their content superior to mine? Well, not necessarily. I mean, there's only so many ways to skin a cat, right? But their names are non-divisive. Nemo Propaganda was a little bit divisive sounding, so we had to change that. Also, it was off-putting to some people. I would get comments occasionally where people are like, "Hey, dig your work," but like, why the name? Like, it's like not really building trust. So I just wanted something cleaner. And plus, that original name was always just an accident. It was my email handle at the time, and 8 years ago when you made a YouTube channel, it just used whatever the name was in your email. I don't think there was a separate place to set a handle like there is now. So, yeah, that's what it comes down to, just simple stuff. I never liked the old name, honestly, because like I said, it was just an accident. Feliciano says, "I like that. Would be cool if you could respond to highlighted comments on your live stream." I mean, I'll dig up some more old comments or recent comments. I'll see if anything's like exciting. So let me hop over to you. Let me just bring up my comment section. Just reading through them, seeing if there's anything interesting. I did get one guy saying rubbish. That's all he said, rubbish. And he was responding to a conversation me and someone else were having in the comment section about power supply upgrades for a DAC. He was just like rubbish. And I just kind of was like, is that the limit of your critical comment? Let's see here. Bunch of people agreeing that the ELAC DB63 are phenomenal and punch above their weight. Nothing really necessarily exciting right now in the comments. Yeah, nothing too crazy. I've thought about doing a video where I kind of like mention all the comments that are crazy, you know, like the people that are super rude, but I don't have a whole lot of interest in that. So just, it kind of never happened. Craig says, love the new name of the channel. Thank you, Craig. Appreciate that. Chris says, any chance you could review the Luxman 507Z? I don't know anyone at Luxman, but let me look it up. Let me see what it is. It's a good looking amp. See how much it costs. You know, the problem with these like higher end companies, man, is like they don't list their prices. It's kind of annoying, but let me see if I can find a dealer that lists what it cost. That's a review. Oh, I think I found it. I think I found it. $10,495. It is a great looking amp, and it's a Luxman. You know, they are expensive. Would love to review it, but the simple answer, I don't have a contact at Luxman. Unlikely. We might see an AccuPhase review. The guys at Access Audio are a major AccuPhase distributor. Those are the people that loaned me the Franco Serblin Accordo bookshelf speaker for review. And they're open to doing an AccuPhase review. So we might see an AccuPhase. Luxman, I don't know anyone, you know. Unless Upscale has it. Let me check. Let's see if Upscale Audio sells Luxman. I don't think they do, but looking at their brands right now. Let's get to L. Yeah, they got Lehman, Lumen, Luxin, Lara. Yeah, they don't do Luxman, unfortunately. So yeah, Luxman's a no-go right now, but I would love to one day. Svalbard, yo Nemo, good to see you stream under the new brand. Thank you, bro. Thank you. It's nap time, you know. Maybe that's what the title of the stream should be. It's nap time. I'm just kidding. Let's see here. King Janzer, hello, Nemo Audio Project. Hope you're doing great. I'm doing great. Thanks, man. Thanks for asking. I hope you're doing great. Ed says, are there any differences between an expensive streamer versus a cheap one like a Weem? Unfortunately and frustratingly, yes. Yes, there's a difference. Give me a second. Let me drink some water and I'll tell you the difference. The cheap ones are good. Don't get me wrong. Cheap one's going to sound fine. Cheap ones are generally, they're doing their best to just keep the distortion down and voice them to be just clean and clear signal in, signal out, right? The more expensive ones, you know, figure a Blue Sound node with a power supply upgrade, which is just under $1,000. You're going to notice a little bit better holographics, a little bit better soundstage depth, a little bit more refinement in those high frequencies, and a little bit more separation. These aren't huge differences, but they are differences. You step up to like $2,500, $3,000 streamer, same thing. A little bit more depth, a little bit more holographic, a little bit more separation everywhere. And that's not using the internal DAC, which is the crazy part. And the reason I said it's frustrating is because I've talked to engineers and they have confirmed what I've said about these more expensive streamers. But when I ask them why, they don't really know. Their goal when designing a higher end streamer is just to give it a bigger power supply section, isolate circuits as much as possible, and lay out an intelligent signal path. It seems like the more you do that, the more you're rewarded. And that's why if you look at some of these really high end, like $10,000 streamers, they're really big. And if you look under the hood, everything's isolated. There's tons of these giant transformers so that every circuit has its own like really clean, dedicated power. And it seems to pay off. Personally, I just use a Blue Sound node with a upgraded LHY power supply, and that's good enough for me. I know if I step up to like a $2,000 or $3,000 streamer, it'll sound even better. But we all got to stop somewhere, you know what I mean? And that's where I'm happy to stop myself. Dylan Lewis, have you thought Have your thoughts changed on active versus passive as you gain more experience over the years? No. No, Dylan, I don't really like passive speakers. They tend to just sound clean and clear and neutral. And I'm not the customer for clean, clear, neutral sound. I can appreciate it, you know. I know powered speakers have their place. If I had a family with kids and I didn't have a dedicated listening room, you know, as you can see by my living room, I am an aesthetics first customer. I certainly wouldn't want a big stack of equipment in my nice living room. I might go for powered speakers in a scenario like that for sure. But I do not think powered speakers have any inherent advantage besides what they can do for being such a simple and straightforward solution. And they do tend to have incredible bass. Technology Gundami. The technology part's funny. Technologia. Name looks good. Thank you, bro. Svalbard says, what are the little speakers back there under your TV? I feel like you know the answer to that. I feel like you've been in enough of these streams. Those over there are the Monacoustic Supermon Mini. They're connected to a Hagel H190, and behind the couch is a Kef KC62, and that rounds out my living room system. I just up here I do some gaming. I have a gaming PC on that media console. You probably can't see it, but I do have one. And I watch Netflix, I watch anime, and just other TV shows up here. It's kind of all I do. The occasional movie. I'm not a big movie guy. Eric says, "What subwoofer would you recommend for the ELAC DB63?" It depends, bro. You know, guys, anytime you ask me for a recommendation, you got to give me a budget and tell me a little bit about your goals. Otherwise, it's really tough to give a recommendation, you know, especially budget. If I don't know how much money you're working with, there's no way to, you know, give a recommendation. And I'd need to know what your goals are if we're doing theater, if we're doing, you know, music only, if you've got a space constraint, can you fit a big sub, or do you want something kind of on the smaller side? You know, I kind of need to know your size requirements for the product, your budget constraints, and if you have any particular goals or things you want it to do. Give me an update, Eric, and I will answer your question once you give me a little more context. Peter is my first name says, what is the giveaway sound when a speaker is underpowered? Is the high end Twitters? I don't know what you mean by the second part, but the giveaway sound when a speaker is underpowered, when you demand more volume, you're going to run into compression, which is where like parts of the sound get louder, but not uniformly. Like maybe your mids and highs will get louder, but you won't get any more bass, and things will you'll start to lose your dynamic range. And if you really push it beyond that, just audible distortion, right? Whether it's like the speaker starting to sound fuzzy or hearing that dreaded slap when the voice coil bottoms out. Those are pretty easy ways to tell if your speaker is underpowered, or just if you just know. I mean, it should be common sense for most people. If you've got a 20 watt per channel amp and you're running 85, 86 dB speakers and you're trying to push them to 80 dB, you're going to know. You're going to know, right? Hope that answers the question. Mark Wilson says, hey, Nemo, considering a DAC upgrade, low budget, but gem. Memer, maybe. Could you review? You know, bro, I've answered this question generally a few times in the past. I've never seen your screen name. Maybe you're new to the channel, but you know, some companies, they don't work with a lot of reviewers, and Shit Audio is one of those companies. They have a couple of reviewers they work with, like Ron from New Record Day and a couple of other guys, and that's it. They are not looking to work with any more reviewers. And I'm guessing their products probably sell themselves, and they probably just don't need any reviews. I did reach out to them a couple of times for a review sample. I never got a reply. when I reviewed their little mini monoblock amps, the Wreckers, I didn't even ask for a review sample because I knew they wouldn't give me one. So I instead was like, hey, I want to buy these to review them. Can I at least get a discount? And they gave me, I want to say like 15% off, which was nice. But they won't send me a review sample of anything. They're not interested in working with me, bro. So I can't review it. The only way I could review it is if I bought it with my own money. And I might sometimes buy stuff with my own money, but it's pretty rare these days. I gotta really want it. But it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? This channel doesn't make money and I'm okay with that, but I don't want it to run me into the red either. You know what I mean? Yanni says Choco Ime 3 best speaker pairings. You're not giving me any context, so I'm guessing you just like it for, in my personal opinion, for my personal taste. Choco Ime with the Platamons is epically good. Absolutely love that combination. Choco Ime with the Totem Bison bookshelves, epic combination also. And let's see, what's my third one? There's so many because the Choco Ime is an amp that tends to work well with a lot of speakers. But you said my top 3, so I'm trying to give you my top 3. Let me hop over to my channel so I can remind myself of the speakers I've reviewed. I think they'd be great with the Evoke 10s by Dyne Audio. I think they'd be great with the Philharmonic BMR. Dyne Audio Emit 20 on the more affordable side. Emit 10, of course, also. Yeah, dude, there's like not a lot of speakers that wouldn't be good, in my opinion. Would the Why am I getting a text message? This is so annoying. Hold on, guys. I think my phone went off of Do Not Disturb. Let me put it back on so I don't get a call that disconnects the stream. And if this somehow disconnects the stream, I promise I'll get it restarted right away. I've never done this before. 1 sec. All right, we didn't disconnect. Yeah, my phone wasn't on Do Not Disturb. I needed to be on Do Not Disturb. I'm not trying to see a bunch of text messages pop up. I'm streaming from my phone right now. But yeah, bro, I hope that answers the question. The Choco Ime is just killer, dude. It's for the money you're paying, it's just gonna kick butt, like kind of no matter what. I probably wouldn't use it with the darkest speakers in the world. But man, is it good. Man, is it good. All right, all right. Where'd I leave off? I'm really behind. Damn, we got a lot of people in here. 57 people. That's a lot. Usually these streams have about 40 in here, so we're experiencing some growth. And guys, don't forget. I know I hate to be that broken record. Hit the thumbs up button, please. It helps let other people of my audience know that the stream is happening. It's just how the algorithm works. You know what I mean? You watching it doesn't tell YouTube to circulate it to more people, which is silly, right? But it is what it is. Criminally Insane says, loving the new logo, Nemo. Same great channel. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Peter's my first name says, new name, great name, 2 words in the sentence are the same. We got a poet over here. I dig it. Technology Gundam says, I couldn't see any reason beyond the Eversolo T8. Yeah. Look, bro, doesn't matter what the product is. Could be a speaker, could be an amplifier, streamer, subwoofer. Everybody has that point where they're just like, I'm not comfortable spending more than this spot. What I've spent here is good enough for me, and I know there's more up here, and I'm just not willing to go that far. There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that. For a lot of guys, it's actually a similar number. And I've talked to manufacturers about this, which is funny. Regardless of income earning, it does seem like most guys that are into hi-fi are pretty comfortable up to about $2,000 per item. Under $2,000 for a set of speakers, under $2,000 for a sub, under $2,000 for an amp, under $2,000 for a streamer. Going above that $2,000 threshold per item, makes a lot of people feel some kind of way. Again, regardless of income and earnings, which I think is hilarious because I'm even like that. Under 2 grand, I feel like this isn't too hard of a decision to make. Over 2 grand, my brain goes, ooh, gee whiz, that's a lot of money. I don't know why that is. It's just a psychological thing that happens to a lot of us. So yeah, Techno, there's nothing wrong with stopping at the Eversolo T8. That's not a cheap piece by any means. And from what I've heard, it sounds great. Give me a second, guys. I feel like I'm too close to my keyboard. I got to move my chair back. One of these days, I'm gonna get a normal chair. I don't sit on a normal chair. I sit on this like weird saddle thing. If you saw it, you'd be like, "That's weird as hell." All right, all right. Where did I leave off? Corey Morris says he just got the K13 R2R DAC to upgrade the internal DAC of his Yamaha AS501. Such an improvement. I've seen that, the little FIO piece. It's like relatively inexpensive. I think it's like a couple $100. Let's check. Let's see what a K13 costs. Maybe I'll email them and see if I can get a review sample. Yeah, it's like 320 bucks. And it's a R2R DAC. Like it's pretty good. Pretty good price. You know what I mean? Bo Rerun says he finally found out how to properly adjust his EQ. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that because it's not about properly adjusting it. It's finding what you like. And learning your own taste can take a lot of trial and error, you know? So I commend you for going on that journey. He also waved back. Bling 5279 says, "Hi Nemo, I'm waiting for the S400 Mark II I ordered during Black Friday. I have a JBL 550p right now as a sub. Is it a good pairing? And should I upgrade to the Bucard sub at some point?" Your sub is a little bit down market. The base quality you're going to get from the Bucard S400 Mark IIs are going to be better than that JBL 550p. That doesn't mean you won't be able to get it to work, but you're going to want to turn down that crossover probably all the way down and dial the sub down a little bit so that you want the sub contributing. When you have a sub that is mismatched to your speakers, the approach you want to take to setting it up is you want it to be doing as little as possible. It's only contributing a little bit because the more it contributes bass, then the more you're going to hear its imperfections, if that makes sense. As far as getting the Bucard sub, you know, that's up to you. I reviewed it and I said everything I needed to say about it in its review. That's a niche sub. You buy the Bucard sub because you like the way it looks. You buy the Bucard sub because of the shape and the form factor have value to you. You buy a Bucard sub because you want a sub with built-in room correction, for example. Outside of those reasons, you can spend less on something like a REL 1003 Mark II and have stellar sound, right? So I would not buy the Bucard sub just because you have Bucard speakers. I would buy it because you value the aesthetics or the shape or its features. Its bass is good. You know, there's nothing wrong with its bass. Don't get me wrong. But the price of it's not cheap. You know what I mean? I mean, I suppose if you just out of the sake of a little bit of OCD, you wanted your system to match and you're willing to pay a little bit extra for that, that's okay too. Sean B says the Purify Ushindi driver was actually made for the Klippel because people will always pay extra for measurements and performance. Purify takes the same approach with their Class D modules. Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. I'm personally not the biggest fan of that Purify driver, at its price at least, and the premium you have to pay for a speaker that uses it. I haven't really heard it do anything that I haven't heard another driver do. Again, except in the 4-inch model. The 4-inch model is pretty wicked. It definitely was cranking out levels of bass that I've never heard out of a 4-inch driver. Chihu Audio says, on a side topic, have you seen reviews on the new Ish Valvoline Restore and Protect oil? Just started using it, does some major engine cleaning and specifically targets piston rings and frees them up. No. Um, hold on. With my cars being like on the higher end side, I don't test shit out. I don't. Um, the approach I take is just like I paid a lot for my cars. I take them to a shop called Pacific German, which they're like a premier shop. People like ship their Lamborghinis from across the country to be serviced there, and I just do what they say. The dude who owns it is an absolute perfectionist. He's what I would describe as someone who has mastered their craft, and whatever the hell he says is right for the car is what I would do. Um, Straight up, that's just how I roll. Like my S7 has 77,000 miles on it now, and I asked them, I'm like, hey, is the OEM oil too thin? Should we step up to something thicker? And they're like, no. I'm like, okay, no problem. Because I know they have customers that have that same engine at 130, 150, 160,000 miles. So they have the data, and I just trust what they say. Also, part of it is I have to consider what my engine replacement costs are. I think on the S7, the engine replacement cost is like 20,000, and on the R8 engine replacement or like rebuild, it's probably about the same, probably a little more, maybe 25, 30,000. Two more cylinders, two more sets of valves, fucking all just R8 tax, all that. King Janzer says one of my friends got a mini DSP Flex setup. Funny enough, of all the 2.1 setups I heard, it sounds right. Just right. Which is crazy considering how inexpensive it is. Yeah, look, King, it's super simple. If you've got a room that's perfect or close to perfect where you don't need a lot of wizardry to make it sound right, a little bit of room treatment and that room's going to be epic. Most people don't have a room like that. I have a room like that, but most people don't. So if your room has a lot of issues where you're having a lot of problems and you either don't have the experience to solve them or you're not willing to use passive room treatment to solve them, then solving those problems in the digital domain as much as possible, while DSP can suck some of the life out of things, if it fixes more problems than it brings to the table, which is a likely case for most rooms that have a lot of issues, then most people are going to think it sounds pretty good. But in my room, for example, that's like already treated and is already a pretty damn good room, I feel like a DSP is just going to take more than it's going to give because I don't really have a lot of room issues. It's kind of like chemotherapy in that case. Bo Rerun says, do you recommend the Klipsch 9s or anything in that price range with the similar look? The 9s are cool. I heard them at a show. They pound. But that's kind of what powered speakers do. Powered speakers just pound. Let me see what the prices of them. Like powered speakers are like always, always, always. You're going to be like, damn, those can play loud and damn, those have a lot of bass. That's just what powered speakers do. So the 9s are a little over $1,000 now. Looks like they're like 1,500 MSRP and they tend to go on sale for like 1,150, 1,200. Yeah, I think the 9s are great. I mean, if you want a powered speaker setup that can get loud and have really powerful bass, the 9s will do that. You will think a subwoofer is connected. They have a ton of bass. Barkosh saying he loves his 9s. All in one, yeah, all in one and pretty awesome bass. Yeah, I'm telling you, the 9s bang. He also said, but this isn't the channel for active speakers. It's okay. You guys can ask me about it. I don't mind. I just probably won't review them. Peter says, yep. King Janzer says, I mean, seriously, considering how he got it sounding with some cheapo Hypex amps, both combined, it cost him just under 1K. I was surprised. Yeah, King, cheap stuff's come a long way. You know what I mean? Like a Fosse ZA3, those ELAC DBC63 speakers, whatever cheap streamer you want to get for $99 and a mini DSP is under $1,000, and that's going to sound incredible. Even without the mini DSP, it'll sound incredible. Chihu, have you done any Dirac testing? I don't have anything with Dirac, so it's not possible for me. I don't have an AVR. I've never reviewed an AVR. There's very few stereo amps that have Dirac. I'm a stereo only channel, you know, bro. I've like heard it at other people's house. And I'm of the belief like this. If your room has a ton of problems, use room correction. If you're not good at setting up a subwoofer, use room correction. Or if you have a lot of drivers like multi-channel home theater, use room correction. In those three scenarios, it's very beneficial. But if you're really good at setting up gear and your room isn't too problematic, or you've used some passive approaches like bass traps, first reflection point absorption, main wall treatment, things like that, then you probably don't need a DSP. Peter says powered speakers are good for bringing around to parties, DJing, powered ELAC, debut connects, $899 with two SB1000 Pros. I was talking to someone else. Middle Earth is saying his line is 1.5, like 1500, more than 1500. He gets a little uncomfortable with what something cost. I get it. Everyone's got a line where beyond that certain price, they feel uneasy for some reason. Jan Solo says, quick question / reviewer. But you didn't ask your question. What the frick? Jan Solo, there's no question, bro. Maybe you clicked enter too soon. I'll keep an eye out, you know, add your question when you get a chance and I'll read it. Tahoe 88 says, try to get your hands on a pair of Sound Artist LS59s. Ridiculously good speaker for $849, just compared to the LS50. Sent the Kefs back. Let me look at them. Let me see what they look like. You know, I care what stuff looks like a lot. Oh, it's like one of those. I mean, I could hit up the dudes from China Hi-Fi. They're cool. It's not really my wheelhouse, though. Like, if I review that, people are going to ask me how it compares to like a bunch of other LS35A type speakers, and I never heard any of them. It would just be an annoying review for me. They do look nice, though. Pal 1969 says, greetings, Nemo. Season's greetings for you and yours. Look forward to your live streams. Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. She who says, I got a crazy deal on a new Denon 6800 and added Dirac. It's amazing. Voices sound perfect in movies. Yeah, like I said, guys, if you're not going to use any room treatment at all, you're just not willing to use room treatment, like acoustic panels and shit, and you know your room has some issues, some kind of correction, you know, may be worth your while. Belobo says, hey, Nemo, tagging along to FIO.convo. I would love to hear a comparison between K13 R2R and FIO Warmer R2R. Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's the reason I don't usually review cheaper stuff, though, because then people want me to start reviewing more cheaper stuff and comparing it to other cheaper stuff. And I'm not trying to sound like a snob, bro. I'm really not. I don't enjoy that. It's not like the type of gear I'm interested in. I'll review cheap stuff every now and then, but it's just not where I'm at. And I feel like we've already have YouTubers that review affordable stuff a lot, especially affordable DACs. There are so many reviewers that go crazy with DACs. Like Sound News reviews almost any DAC. Sound News has reviewed it. Or IIWI, that guy reviews so many DACs. You know what I mean? So I would say check them out. You know, they know their stuff. They're pretty good with that. Pandemonium. Hi, Nemo. I like the new name. Do you plug your amps directly into the wall outlet, or do you go into a filter? Happy holidays. I go into a filter, but nothing crazy. I use that W Audio one that sold on Amazon for like $185. I used the tie hang for a while, and that was definitely really nice, but I had nowhere to fit it. Sonic Mainliner, hey Nemo, got a question. In the S850 video, you said the sub would work better in smaller rooms than the old compared to the old one. Do you have any idea why this might be? Very curious. Yeah, because Rel worked on that. Um, the previous Series S liked a bigger room, and that was one of its imperfections, if you will. Um, so for years when people would want to shove like S550 or S850 in a small like 10 by 12, Rel would recommend Series HT instead, or a pair of T9Xs, something like that. And they with new Series S, they wanted to make sure it would be a little bit more flexible with room sizes. Now, if you want to know the technical reasons why, I couldn't tell you because I didn't ask. If I had to guess, the total system Q is probably slightly less stiff, and maybe the driver has a little bit more motor force to make up for that, but I'm really just guessing here. Sorry, guys, I lost my place. There it is. Sorry, guys, if I'm quiet for a while. Some people are like talking to each other, so I got to read the comments to realize that, and then I go to the next one. Yanni says, do you think hi-fi equipment or speakers in general have a problem, quote unquote, with any music genre in general? That said, what speakers would you recommend for house techno all-rounders? Yeah, Yanni, there's definitely like some stuff, that's better for certain genres. That tends to be more of an issue when you get into the higher end mega dollar stuff. Like there are definitely speakers that are incredibly good at like strings. There are that, they're talking 10,000, 20,000 and up. There's speakers that are incredible with like the piano and sounds like that. They start to really narrow their focus, but in the normal man's price range of say under $5,000, you should not really run into that. But there are still going to be speakers that are going to be better suited to the type of music you listen to. So you listen to EDM, I'm guessing you like it a little bit loud. You want a speaker with some bass extension. You want something that's going to be mostly clean and clear. A little bit of warmth is probably going to be good too. It'll add some richness, but you need powerful bass. That's what you need. On the affordable side, that'd be something like the ELAC DB63. On the more expensive side, Dyne Audio EMIT 10 or 20. Even more expensive than that, Bucard S400 Mark II or KEF R3 Meta. Stuff like that. Ed says, is the RSL10E subwoofer a good pair with the ZDWX? No, I recommend the REL HT1205 Mark II. Tonally, the REL HT1205 Mark II is a perfect match for the ZDWX for some reason. Like they both have bass that is a little bit on the dry side and quick and snappy side. And they sound like they're made for each other, That's not to say the RSL10E will be bad, right? Like it'll be fine. But like it doesn't have any like inherent advantage or anything, whereas the REL 1205 Mark II is like tonally the match for the DWX. More people talking to each other, which I don't mind, by the way. King Dranzer says 1.5 to 2,000 is the new budget, or more accurately, low end mark. 6 to 7.5 is the new mid range mark. 12 to 15 is high end, and beyond the 15K money is no object territory. Yeah. Techno is asking how tariffs have affected audio gear prices in the US, or just prices or stocks in general. I haven't really seen a lot of like big changes personally, but I also don't buy a lot of stuff, so I'm not sure. Craig Foreman dropping the most important comment saying, remember to like the video. Yes, very important. Very important to like the video. Helps let more people know the stream is happening. That's just how it works. Alan Rickson says, congrats on the rebrand, brother. Thank you. Thank you. Andre Smoller says, your live stream is most enjoyable to watch. Keep up the good work. Thank you, bro. Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. I'm surprised it's the most enjoyable. I feel like they're just, you know, there's nothing like too special to them, you know? Tahoe 88 says, Sean at Zero Fidelity recommended the sound artist LS59s during a live stream. Yeah, he's liked sound artist speakers for a long time now. He's mentioned them on a lot of live streams, I would say. So he says he hated the walnut veneer, so he slapped a coat of ebony gel stain on them. Yeah, why not? Feliciano says no room treatment. Throw your mattress behind your speakers on the front wall when listening to music. Oh man, you know, if only it was so easy, right? If only it was so easy. To Madam, Madam 290. Greetings from Italy, Adam. What's up, man? What's up, Adam? What's up? Italy makes some great hi-fi. Some of my favorite brands come from Italy. Pathos, beautiful, beautiful amplifiers. Papa Bain says good afternoon from Iowa. What's up, dude? You guys got snow in Iowa? I feel like you get snow in Iowa. Sounds like a place where it snows. Papa Bain says any recommendation. Might need another energy drink in a second here. Let's try that again. Any recommendations for a sub $200 DAC to try it with my WIM Ultra? Currently have the Ultra connected to a Vibe link and use the ELAC DB63 and RSL Speedwoofer 10S Mark II. So honestly, Papa Bain, my opinion is this. The cheap DACs under $200 perform roughly on the same level as the internal DAC in most equipment. And I don't think they're really worth spending money on unless your signal is coming out of a PC, right? So if you're using PC audio out from like a computer, then for some reason it seems like using an external DAC, even a cheap like $99, $100 one, like a shit or something, will be of a benefit. But like if you have something like a Emotiva TA1 amp or TA2 amp or like Iota VX SA40 amp, which is like these amps are all $1,000 or less, and you add an external like $200 DAC, like the ones Shit makes, I couldn't hear a difference really, man. You know, like if I did, I wasn't sure if I was tricking myself. But the weird thing is I've talked to other people that are like, what do you mean? It's a night and day difference. So I don't know. My experience with really cheap DACs, like under 200 bucks, is they are no better than what's inside a Blue Sound Node. They are no better than what's inside a Emotiva TA1 or any other roughly $500 product. I hope that helps. Because basically my advice is to just keep rocking what you got. Either spend that money somewhere else, save it, or save more and, you know, get something a little bit more worthwhile. Maybe like a secondhand Denafrips Aries on the used market. You could probably snag one for like $500. Austin Schomburg says, what is up, Nemo? Hope all is well. Kudos on the rebrand and greetings from Colorado. Greetings. Thank you, brother. Thank you. King says, Italy makes Lamborghini and pizza all I care for. Yeah, yeah. Does Italy make Lamborghini though? Like, do they? Let's find out. Because the car is owned by Volkswagen Group. You know what I mean? Same with Bentley. Where is the Lamborghini Temerario made? Oh yeah, still made in Italy. It's made in Sant'Agata, Bolognese, Italy. So yeah, Lamborghini is still made in Italy despite being German owned. Feliciano says tariffs are tough. Think the people that are being impacted the most from it are the Chi-Fi based reviewers. Are there Chi-Fi based review? Are there reviewers that only review Chi-Fi? I didn't know that. I don't really watch a lot of other reviewers, guys. Like I watch probably like Andrew Robinson videos periodically. Just like his presentation is just so good, you know. I watch like a Thomas and Stereo video occasionally just because he doesn't really make a whole lot of videos. So like when he does, I'm like, oh, a Thomas and Stereo video. But I don't really watch other hi-fi reviewers. Sometimes I'll watch like Ed, old guy hi-fi. His videos are good too, but I don't watch a ton of other reviewers. Guys, give me a second. I'm gonna go to the fridge. I need a little pick me up. I'm gonna grab an energy drink. Take me probably, if you want to time it, I think 8.5 seconds. Also gonna turn on the AC. Hold up. Got my all natural Juno energy drink. For anyone that doesn't like artificial sweeteners and artificial flavoring, this is a decent one. It's only got 125 milligrams of caffeine, so it doesn't really like hit that hard, but I try to keep that kind of stuff low. All right, where did I leave off? And guys, feel free to ask any question. Y'all can ask any question you want. It doesn't even have to be hi-fi related. You can ask me personal questions if you want. I might not answer them all the time. Like if you're like, how much did you pay in taxes last year? Or like, how much money do you make a year? Like I might not answer those, you know, but you can kind of ask me any question you want. It doesn't have to be hi-fi, right? Like if you've always like wondered, you know, do I have a favorite TV show or some shit? You guys are welcome to ask questions like that. I actually enjoy stuff like that. All right, all right. Austin Schomburg says, question: if I have a pair of Arendelle 1528 bookshelves and Eclipse RP 1600 SW at the moment, that's a big sub. For those of you that don't know, that's a 16-inch Big Daddy Eclipse made. I want to put in 2 stereo subs, Rhythmic Up12s, Neurel S5 S series, or something else, looking for musicality and theater. You've already got a really big sub. So at minimum, you're used to having a really big sense of scale. Now, you and me, I think, both know that Klipsch RP range of subs can get low, it can get loud, doesn't have a lot of note to note distinction, has no leading edge definition, right? So your bass quality and fidelity are just meh, but you have a ton of room rumble effects right now. You're probably going to want to go for a pair. If you want to go with Rel, Predator 1510s. If you're going to want to go with Rhythmic, if you want to preserve any sense of the output capability and room rumble capability of the RP 1600 SW, you're going to go with a pair of their E15 HP2s or FVX 12s. That's what you're going to do. If those are too big or those don't work for some reason, or if I've misunderstood your question, feel free to clarify, respond to what I'm saying. And when I get back to your comment again, we'll pick up where we left off. You're also welcome to hop in the free Discord where we could discuss it more in depth. Papa says lots of snow and setting -7 below. Wow. That's cold. That's cold. If I remember correctly, that was in reference to Iowa. CC750 says your voice is a bit out of sync with the image. That is, I think, always the case to some degree with live streams. They're never quite perfect if you pay attention. Um, it's a live stream, you know, and my phone is literally uploading this signal in real time. There's going to be some jitter. There's going to be some timing delays as the signal goes through the satellites and cellular networks and internets of the world. And it's going to be slightly imperfect. Technology's not, YouTube offers this live stream function for free. Someone's got to pay for this bandwidth. They're only going to give so much bandwidth to everyone, right? It shouldn't be horrendous. If it's horrendous where I look like I'm dubbing over a like Asian film, for example, that must mean there's a ton of network congestion. But it should be very, like, you should have to like look at my mouth to notice any slight delay. And most live streams are like that from what I've noticed. Peter's my first name. Sounds like I need a second set of speakers just to handle poor recordings. I'd like to see other YouTubers review speakers for poorly recorded classics. I have speakers for EDM and electronica. What speakers do you have now? You shouldn't really need speakers for poor recordings unless your recordings are so bad and the speakers you're using currently are extremely resolving. Like my Platamon, those don't like poor recordings. The Cabas Murano didn't really love poor recordings. Anything with a ton of detail, Focal Aria 906 doesn't love poor recordings because it'll put a magnifying glass on those shortcomings. But anything like CAF R3 Meta or Warmer should be fine with poor recordings. Spendor Classic 3.1, Bucard S400 Mark II, even Totem Bison, even though it's energetic up top, should be okay with poor recordings. Feliciano saying I gotta get my hands on the Me Mirror DAC. He has the Aries 2 for his stereo and recently got the Me Mirror for headphone rig, and it's really good. I would, bro, but like I said, Feliciano, like, shit audio is not gonna send me a review sample. They only work with like 2 or 3 reviewers, and that's it. I've tried. I would have to buy it if I wanted to review it, and if they're not willing to send me a review sample, I don't think it's fair that I would have to give them money. Like, if they don't want to play ball with me, I'm not going to play ball with them. You know what I'm saying? Dominic says, yeah, Lamborghini maintains 100% Italian assembly and final production. I wonder if my R8's made in Italy. Let's see. Where is the Audi R8 V? Oh, what did I do? Get out of here. V10 made. Because it shares the chassis, engine, and transmission with the Huracan. The Audi R8 V10 is prominently manufactured by hand at the Bollingerhof production facility in Heilbronn, Germany. This facility has been producing R8 since 2014. Makes sense. Papa Bane says, thank you. That's what I wanted to hear. I appreciate it. No problem, bro. No problem. I might not always give people the answer they wanted to hear. Like, I may not necessarily validate what was like inside, but I'll always give you what is at least my truth. Middle Earth says Live Harmony UDAC, the micro DAC, pre and post tariffs $994, I believe, but I pre-ordered it and it was $870-ish. Nice. King says, I have to leave sooner than usual today. Thank you very much for this awesome and interactive show. Have a nice day. Catch you next time. Later, King. Thank you for tuning in. You're always in these streams. I appreciate you. Screwed in 2102. Turning up AC. We got 6 inches of snow last night. I'm in Southern California, bro. What can I say? Outside right now is probably 73, maybe 72. And then inside, without the air on, me doing these live streams, I do get a little warm. I just have the AC set to 73, nothing crazy. Yeah, see, Tahoe saying he thought the SMSL SU1 sounded much better than the Weem Pro Plus stack, even though it's the same chip. I did have it powered with a decent LPS, though. Yeah, that's going to make a difference, bro. That is going to make a difference. Power supply upgrades make a difference, guys. This is not like snake oil. This is not like bullshit. guys, in this hobby, everything makes a difference. Even cables make a difference. I don't care what anyone says. Cables make a difference. Now, I'm not suggesting that a really expensive cable is worth it. Whether or not it's worth the price, that's a different story, guys. That is a whole different story. But even cables do make a difference. I promise you they do. And again, I'm not suggesting you run out and spend $3,000 and upgrade all your cables. No, I'm not saying that. They do make a difference. Whether or not you'll like that difference or find it to be worth it, other story. That's another story. 80 people in here. Damn, this is crazy. This is a big stream. We got a lot of people in here. Middle Earth +1 on the shit meme here at 300 being a really good value proposition with the mesh combo burrito filter. Love the Taco Bell reference. Look, I'll tell you what, guys. I'll email shit right now. A lot of you guys are bringing up the meme or Mimi, whatever we're going to call it. I'll send him an email, guys. Hold up. Contact. General questions about your order. So general questions is info@shitaudio.com. Copy. Let's go to my email. Compose. Subject. Potential review. Hey guys, my name is Nemo. I run the YouTube channel Nemo Audio Project. Let's do them a favor. We'll hyperlink it. We'll even hyperlink the channel for them. You know what I'm saying? So they could click on it easy. Oh, I spelled project wrong. Hold up. Let me fix that. Okay, let's add the hyperlink to those words. Boom, apply. And a few of my audience members have asked me to review the new Mimir. Are you guys open to discussing this further? I don't charge any fees or use affiliate links, nor will I expect to keep the product after the review. My entire review process is completely free for you outside the minimal shipping costs. I am in Southern California. Happy holidays. Boom. So look, as you guys can see, I just typed that out. I just click send. They're not going to reply. I promise you. If they do reply, they're just going to say they don't have any review samples available at this time, or they're going to say they don't need any reviews of the Mimir at this time. I promise you. I promise you. But I did it. I did it. I did my part. You know, that's all I could do, guys. Where'd I leave off? Austin says, definitely. Thanks, man. The 1600 will be for low end. Got it. So you're going to be using that 1600 still for like maybe LFE, just like 30 hertz and below. All right. Wanted to capture mid bass with something like a sealed sub to have better response. Have a mini DSP 2x4 to manage the bass accordingly. Let me scroll back up to your original comment. So you got the 1528 bookshelves. You can still do a pair of F12s. It depends how loud you like your system. Those 1528s get super loud. So if you're looking for something that can max out in volume the same way your speakers can, you know, it's still the E15 HP2 pair, FVX12 pair, or Predator 1510 pair. But if you're like, hey, I'm not trying to do 110 dB theater, this is just more for like music, the RP 1600 is going to bring those, you know, crazy room rumbles. You know, these other dual subs are going to be mostly music and just adding a little bit of tactile feedback for theater. Then for sure, yeah, a pair of F12s, no problem. You know what I mean? F12s are awesome. Also, I'm assuming your room is a little bit on the bigger side, and not like a 10 by 12. I hope your room's not a 10 by 12, because the F12 is a stiff sub. Stiff subs don't love tiny rooms. Al 2090, hey, what's up, Nemo? Have you settled on final name for the channel? Yeah, it's already live. I mean, you should already be able to see it. All my logos are updated. My screen name is updated. The thumbnail of this video is updated. It's already live, bro. Austin says Clips is exactly as described. Perfect for that big booming movie feel. Bad at the finer things. Yeah, that's what I call an LFE sub, right? It's good to rumble, right? And that's it. Its strong suit is its rumbling. Get this up a little bit more. There we go. Look a little bit better there. If you can't see like the lower part of me, I just end up looking like I have droopy shoulders because you can't see below me. It was really bothering me. Sorry. Peter is my first name. What is your social security number, date of birth, checking account number, and mother's maiden name? Nothing personal. Oh, and PIN too. You know what that reminds me of? I don't know if you've seen the meme where it's like someone's talking to one of those, like, it's obviously like a scammer, but they act like they're a girl. And like in the chat, the scammer, who's a girl supposedly, is like, darling, I would love to get to know you better. Please tell me what was your first pet's name? You know? And then the next question is like, and what is your family name? And when were you born? And I'm so thrilled to get to know you better, but they're all like security questions. It's obviously a scam. Bling says, what's a good preamp to pair with the Galleon TSA 75? Would like balance since I have the micro DAC. How about Thomas's own preamp? I mean, is it balanced? Let's look. I'm a big fan of matching your power amp with its matching preamp. So he has two preamps, the Navy Tube preamp and the Galleon TS P75. Let's click more info. Let's word search balanced. I don't see anything about it being a balanced design, and I don't see XLRs on it. Let's check the flagship, the Navy. I don't see balance out on that either. Yeah, so neither of them are true balance, you know. If you want true balance, I'm sorry, I'm not really sure. That's not something I pay attention to. My own Kinky Studio preamp is not true balanced. My understanding is most preamps are not true balance, and if they have XLR, it's usually by way of conversion, just for the sake of convenience. Some people want to have a XLR output and things like that. I am not really a preamp expert. I've only reviewed like one or two of them in the whole 8 years I've had this channel, so I'm not the guy to answer that question, my guy. I'm sorry. Screwed is saying, do you prefer Class D or AB with high efficiency speakers? AB, always AB. I always prefer Class AB for the most part, unless we're talking about like super high end Class D, like the live GAN monoblocks. Those are so good. You know, those sound like Class A, but for the most part, I'm a little bit of a Class D hater. Peter's my first name says he has the Polk R600 and a Denon AVR with 80 watts for showing concert videos at parties, but it all sucks so bad for music. It shouldn't. The Polk Reserve speakers are awesome. They sound great for music. It might be your AVR that is not bringing the goods, but I love the Polk Reserve speakers. I freaking love them. I think they sound so good. They don't have the most refined high frequency section, but you know, they were very affordable. Peter, maybe you need to add an affordable but good stereo amp and use that for stereo only. Something like a Choco Ime, perhaps. Just throwing that out there, you know. I think you might be surprised what those Polk Reserve speakers could do. Ed Beck, what's up, dude? Long time subscriber saying, hey yo, how's it going? It's going good, bro. Going good. Kublacom says, I use a pair of rhythmic L12s in my 50/50 system, and my family already complains about the house rumbling. I can only imagine what a pair of FVX 12s or E15 HPs would do. You know, Kublacom, it kind of depends. Is your name a play on like the Kubla Khan? Because that's what it sounds like. I can't remember what Kubla Khan even is, but I swear that's like a name of someone. Anyways, it depends how big your room is. In some ways, you know what I mean. Sometimes, you know, a pair of E15s in a really big room might not be a whole lot more bass than your L12s in a small room, for example. But yeah, a pair of L12s can get it done for sure. What the larger E15s are going to bring to the table is not necessarily more bass. Yes, they are capable of quite a bit more bass, but you don't have to necessarily do that. You could just get a larger sense of scale, keep your overall bass power the same, and just gain a larger sense of scale, a more effortless sound, and more note to note distinction, and more low end extension, right? So it's not always just about loudness when we go to these larger sizes, you know, but yeah, L12s are great. That's a phenomenal subwoofer, man. You've got one of the best subs in the world for the money, in my opinion. Kevin M. Payong says, as the Dyne Audio Evoke 20 being on the short list, Rel's recommendation seems to be Classic Series. Of course it is. That doesn't surprise me. Based on your experience, is the Rel Classic Series that much warmer than TX? Yes. Yeah. You don't have to use Classic. Like, this is what I recommend, bro. Get your Dyne Audio Evoke 20s first. Those are super warm. Some of the warmest speakers I've heard. If you love what you're hearing and you want even just a little more of that warm and rich bass, that's the Classic. But if you're like, hey, it's maybe even a smidgen too warm, I'll be honest, the Evoke 20 are so warm, even a T9X is not going to make them sound less warm. You know, nothing will make them sound less warm. But a Classic Series paired with the Dyne Audio Evoke 20, I would only recommend that to the guy who is like, I love warmth. There's no such thing as too much warmth. I want as much as humanly possible. That's Evoke and Classic together, right? That's who that's for, you know? If you want to dry it out a little bit, you'd have to use something like a 1205. Tonally a mismatch, but that's what you would need to do to dry it out. But if you're going to do that, you should just not buy the Evoke 20. You should get the Special 40 instead. You can get a pair of used Special 40s for a little bit cheaper even than a new pair of Evoke 20s. So that's my advice. If you're not the extreme warmth customer, don't get Evoke 20, get Special 40. Papa Bain says, any recommendations for songs that really shine on your system? Tipper Deal with the VIP sounds really good on the ELAC DB63 and Speedwoofer. I got a lot of songs, you know, that most of my songs sound good on my system. It's a treated room, you know what I mean? But Lily by Alan Walker is really nice. This Damn Song is really good, but that could sound a little congested on most systems. You need a lot of separation for that song to sound right. Big fan of One Thing Right by Marshmello. You know, just a ton of stuff. I mean, like, I listen to like everything from like Japanese rock to like death metal to EDM to country. Like, Austin says, usually listening around 75 to 80 dB max. Yeah, bro. Pair of F12s is going to be plenty. Rooms 13, 18. Yeah, you're good. You're good. Yeah. He says, thank you so much. Appreciate you in the channel. Anytime, dude. Peter says, thinking about Advanced Paris A12 Classic with Arundel speakers or Wharfdale Super Lintons. I don't know what I'm doing, LOL. Well, I don't know what you're doing either, but I might be reviewing an advanced Paris piece soon. I reached out to them because of you guys. So many people in live streams asked about them. Excuse me. I shot them an email. They got back to me. Really cool people. Really cool people, actually. Might get a review sample of one of their products in the first quarter. We'll see. Oh, yeah. This is a good question. Austin says, any favorite anime or animated film show you've been jamming lately? Newest season of One Piece is a masterpiece. Just finished My Hero epic wrap up. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely got some favorites. Just like pulling from the past, Gundam 00. I love Gundam. Gundam 00 is just like my favorite, you know. Um, but you know, that's an older one, or like Death Note, absolutely epic. A lot of people have told me it hasn't aged well, but at the time it redefined suspense, you know. As far as new stuff, Gachi Yakuda is great. I'm rewatching Fairy Tale right now. It's another like classic, just like so good. Here, let me go to my watch history. I just actually started watching Black Clover. I never seen that. I never watched My Hero. I'm not a fan of the animation. Same with One Piece, unfortunately. I know they're good, but um there was one I saw recently that I really liked. Oh, believe it or not, Clavitas. I actually really enjoyed. That was on Crunchyroll. Kaiju number 8, absolutely epic. Love Kaiju number 8. Still waiting for new Chainsaw Man, obviously, just like everyone else. Still waiting for new Jujutsu Kaisen, just like everybody else. Dandadan is another newer anime that is just really epic. You know, I love that. Just going through my history. I tried to watch Guilty Crown, wasn't that good. It's mostly me just rewatching Fairy Tale. Oh, another like low key one. The beginning after the end. Also watched Apothecary Diaries recently. Never seen anything like it. It was kind of like a soap opera instead of like just your regular anime. And I liked it, man. Also, of course, like Frieren. Of course, you know, if you haven't seen Frieren, like stop what you're doing. You just like Frieren is just crazy. So good. He says Jujutsu Kaisen is my favorite show to drop on people who don't watch anime. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely crazy show. Definitely setting the bar high too. Peter says your reply, scam questions, pet name, high school, favorite uncle, etc. Yeah, yeah. Karsten says, thanks for all the great content. Nemo, question. Seeing as the Caldera 10 was pretty much a hidden gem, any chance you'd also review Verify's bookshelf speaker? Yeah, I've been meaning to do that. I just keep forgetting, bro. I just keep forgetting. Kubla Khan says yes. Okay, so it is a play on that name. That's fine. Who was Kubla Khan? It was like he was like a general under Genghis Khan or like the next guy or something. I'm pretty sure. Who was Kubla Khan? It's a poem. Oh, it was a poem. Okay. I thought it was a guy. Oh well. Okay. GT Diary says Age of Empires. Is that an anime? I don't think I've seen it. Rock and Roll says hola. Hola. That's Espanol for my people who don't know. Austin says Dumber Side quest on the sub rabbit hole. Would it be more sensible to just do 2 times RSL, SW, Mark II, Speedwoofer Mark IIs, or 2 F12s, regular or VX, given the context? RSL Speedwoofers are great, bro, but if you're looking for that big gain in fidelity, like, look, the RSL Speedwoofer is going to have more fidelity than your RP 1600 SW, but it's the RSL 12S, the big dog, that actually is like, wow, that has really good fidelity. The 10S is like good fidelity for the price. The 12S, you're just like, whoa, that's really good fidelity. And then Rhythmic is even above that by quite a bit. So, ow, I just hit the funny bone on the granite countertop. So yeah, don't be cheap. Don't be cheap. If you're talking Rhythmic and REL, you can afford it. Don't be cheap. No. Yeah, you just go for the F12. Um, that is going to give you your tactile bass. The FVX12 would be better if you were getting rid of the RP and wanted to still have some really great room rumbles. But since you're keeping it in the system, F12 would be the way to go. Corcus says hi from Puerto Rico. Hey, what's up, brother? Peter says the Polk R600s hurt after 5 minutes, harsh as fuck. Love the Pixies, Hendrix, Trower, and guitars are painful when I turn it up. So sad. Actual headache. It's funny you say that because I've heard some people say the Polk Reserve is bright. For most people, it's not a bright speaker, but there's something about, and it's funny, if you talk to the engineer who made the speaker, he says it's a bright speaker. Most of the reviewers say it's not. I have a feeling it's room dependent. You might have a room where they don't work. Yeah, that just might be what's going on because that is supposed to be a bright speaker. That's a little secret. No one talks about that. The engineer who made the speaker actually disagreed with all the reviewers who said it was kind of like neutral, just a little extra sparkle up top, warm in the mids. The actual engineer was like, what the fuck are you guys all talking about? That is not how the speaker sounds. All the reviewers had the same wrong impression. How is that possible? Doesn't make sense. And every now and then I'll get someone like you who's saying, you're describing it the way the engineer describes it. So maybe your room is more on par with whatever room they were designed in, and you're hearing what they were actually designed to do, which is weird. But yeah, they're not for you then. They're not a good fit for your room, is what it sounds like. Yeah. Yeah. I know I told you it might be your amp, but no. You know what I mean? They're just, yeah, it's a weird thing. I know. Just sell them, look for something different. That's my advice. Tipper fan in the comments, LFG. I don't get it. I don't get what that means. Austin says Mr. Bill's newest release on YouTube from Tipper's Red Rocks show is incredible, even if maybe I don't know what that means. I love Bill. All right. Spoon. I don't know what you guys are saying. Tahoe says Terminator Zero was a decent Terminator anime. Kinda. The pacing was bad. It was really bad pacing, Yeah. I liked it at first, and I know the Terminator movies pacing, wasn't super quick either. For their time, they were normal. I get that. But the anime just like it didn't do it for me. I was bummed on that a little bit. Austin says Freeren's so good. Heartstrings yanked. Yeah. Yeah. Siphonic says nap. Just stopping in to say what's up. Have a great stream. Enjoy the day. I've got to put these Kep R11 meta to work. Do it. Enjoy them. Austin says, got it. It makes perfect sense on the subwoofer talk. I think rhythmic stereos are the suckers I'm targeting hard. Again, thank you for your input, big dog. No problem, bro. No problem. I'm happy to help. My goal when I started this channel, guys, was to help people stop obsessing on what they're going to buy. Because the obsession part of like buying shit it's not fun for any of us. When you get like overwhelmed, like that happens to me too. So I was like, damn, if I could help people stop obsessing, make a decision and get back to enjoying their system, that would make me happy. So that's what I try to bring, Dr. Sebastian Longstaff. That sounds like a dirty name. That sounds like a very dirty name, sir. Says, are rear firing drivers on a loudspeaker good or bad? What do you mean by that? Do you mean passive radiators? I haven't seen a speaker with rear firing drivers before. I think you're referring to passive radiators. If you are, it's no different than really having a port back there. The passive radiator acts as a port. If you're talking about dipole speakers, I don't have any experience with those. Austin says, oh no, he's talking to someone else. Austin says Tipper is a DJ who plays glitch hop, who just retired recently. Mr. Bill did a cool AV set with the Red Rocks show. Oh. Dr. Sebastian, I've never seen a rear firing tweeter on a speaker. What speaker are you referring to, my bro? I've only ever seen a tweeter on the front of a speaker. You know, I guess there was that. Was it the Monitor Audio Radius 45? I think had it was this tiny cube speaker, and I think that had a rear firing tweeter. Let me take a look. I actually have one of those somewhere. It's like a little 3-inch. Yeah, it's a little 3-inch speed. It's a 4-inch cube. It's got a 3-inch driver in the front and a gold tweeter shooting back, you know, and that's just because of the space constraint. But besides that, which is such a unique speaker, you know, I've never seen it. Kubla Khan says SVS Ultra Evolution towers have active drivers on the back. They match up with the ones on the front to cancel out cabinet resonance, supposedly. Yeah, I could see that. I can see that. I know some powered speakers have actives on the back too. Tweeter, I've just, besides that Monitor Audio Radius 45, I've never seen it. Peter says, this is why I love your channel so much. You're in it for the love. Other reviewers sound like they're reviewing each other's reviews. F the Polks. One has to learn how to read between the lines. What do you mean they sound like they're reviewing each other's reviews? Because they all sound the same? Is that what you're saying? And look, for the Polks, I really do like the reserve range, just to be clear. Like, I really do like them. But in my room and in most people's room, the treble is a little relaxed, you know, and the mid-range is a little bit warm. That's how they sound to most people. But I let my friend borrow them and he heard what you're hearing. So in some rooms, for whatever reason, they'll just be like bright forward showroom sound, you know? Peter says it's just like the weathermen hyping up a little snowstorm. Oh, yeah. I mean, look, bro, it's not that I'm like morally superior to anyone. I just don't do this for money. Like, I have a good career already, you know? So, like, I don't charge fees. I don't use affiliate links. I don't demand to keep the product and sell it after the review to make money or anything like that. The only money I get out of this channel is the ad revenue, which is on average about 350 a year. I'm sorry, 350 a month. Which is cool, you know, like pays for like bullshit. You know, it's like whatever. But yeah, I didn't start this channel to make money. I personally don't like to monetize my hobbies. And again, like I'm really lucky in that I already have a really good career that I love. So doing the YouTube thing full time as a vocation for money is just not, it's not something I'm interested in. So like as a result, yeah, I'm definitely going to be in it for the love of the game more. I'm definitely not going to give a shit if a manufacturer doesn't like me, you know, doesn't matter to me. This doesn't put food on my table. You know what I'm saying? Papa said, does anyone here have the Wharfdale 5.1 or Linson's? Not me. Not me. The only Wharfdale I ever reviewed was that three-way with the big old dome mid-range. I can't remember what it was called. They were priced well for their time. I think they were like 1,200, and you got like a real wood veneer and this big speaker with a really powerful bass. It was an incredible speaker, but the driver integration, fucking terrible. Absolutely terrible. How long we've been streaming for? 90 minutes. You know what's funny? Always around the 90-minute mark, the comments start to slow down a little bit. And I always think the stream's over, you know? And then I'll wait like a minute or two. I'll start bullshitting, and then like a bunch more comments will come in. The crazy thing is the last stream I did, my streams are usually anywhere from an hour and 50 minutes to 2 hours and 10 minutes. You guys want to know how long the last stream was? It was crazy. I never had a stream go this long. Let's see. I got to click on it to see the length. 3 hours and 45 minutes. My no hat live stream. That's what I called it. My no hat live stream, because my hat was dirty. I had to wash it. So it was just shaved head, no hat Nemo stream. Oh, I got questions on the Discord. That's not related to audio. All right, let me get the chat back up. Ancient Alien says, I'm glad you like the DB63s. I was hyping them a bit. Yeah, they're good, bro. They are, man. For $4.99, they're fucking great. If they were like $8.99, you know, not too great, but at $4.99, like they deliver the goods. You know, do they have the airspace and separation of a $2,500 speaker? No. Do they stage as large as a KEF R3 Meta? No. But they're also not that price. At $4.99, the sound you're getting, the sound stage you're getting, and the airspace and separation you're getting is pretty darn good, man. Papa says, so far I love my DB63s. I was looking at much more expensive speakers, but ordered from Crutchfield so I could send them back if I needed, but kept them. Yeah, it's one of those speakers, like you hear it and you're just like, I don't have any complaints. Like, it's just hard to have a complaint because, you know, it does everything either great or good enough. And, you know, good enough isn't a bad thing. I hear some people think, you know, you hear the phrase, oh, good enough. But that's not how I mean good enough. When I say good enough, good enough. When I say good enough, I mean good enough that I'm satisfied. Good enough that I don't feel the need to spend more money, you know? Austin says, seems like you dig EDM. Do you mostly consume content via Tidal? Yeah, I do. And I do like EDM a lot. Or do you also do YouTube sets? I'll listen to like music on YouTube when I'm like at my laptop or when I'm at work, you know, but not downstairs on my system. My system's down there. You go in that hole and you walk downstairs. But yeah, I listen to a lot of EDM. Like when I'm listening for my own enjoyment. Right now, I'm like really into like speedcore and nightcore, which isn't like high fidelity EDM at all. Like mostly listening to that in the car. Ancient Alien says, now you have to get the Hi-Fi Swan T3.1 Mark II. They're $550. They're powered speakers, bro. I don't like powered speakers. I don't like powered speakers. It's not my thing. Not my thing. Austin says, if you dig all in between two, any recordings are good. I know you dig all in between two. Polyphia Live from Austin says, has been slapping. So has Sammy. I'll check them out. Middle Earth says he's been buying pure DSD album files, and they're so much better than anything else digital, including super oversampled HQ player files, pure DSD recording masterings. I've never heard DSD. Oh, they're not powered. Ancient Alien says those Hi-Fi Swans are not powered. I mean, I'll look them up. You know, if they look interesting, maybe I'll email them. Such a weird name, Hi-Fi. Okay, to Google we go. Let's look at these swans. Such a weird name. So here's a review. I don't know why I don't like the company. You want to know the truth? That's just what it comes down. I don't like the company. I don't know why. Okay. You ever just like see someone and you don't like them? I'm that type of person. Sometimes I just see someone and I don't like them. I'm like that with companies too sometimes. There's something about this company. I don't know what it is. I don't like them. I haven't had a bad experience with them. I've never heard their product. I don't know why. I go to their website. I'm just like, yuck. I don't like you guys. I don't know why. Maybe I'm like very prejudiced, in some strange way. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, just like something about them. Like, I don't know, man. See, they got like a DIY speaker. Let's click on passive hi-fi, see what they got. It's not even like on their website though. That's like the annoying thing. Like I'm on their website, I clicked hi-fi speakers, passive hi-fi. I see the Swan M1 and the Swan M803A. Like, why is their own product not on their website? You know what I mean? It's annoying. Yeah, I don't like this company. I don't know why. I see their stuff and I'm like, I don't want that. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I could be a little judgmental sometimes. It is what it is. I just don't have any affinity for them. Whatever the opposite word for affinity is, that's what I have for Swan. Let's see if that word exists. What word means the opposite of affinity? Because affinity is like a natural like for something, like a pull towards. You naturally kind of gravitate towards aversion. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I have an aversion to them for some reason. No, disdain is way too strong of a word. Disdain is like a strong dislike. 18i says, are you still using the tie hang? No, that was a review sample. All review samples have to move on to the next reviewer. I don't get to keep this stuff, guys. It's rare. Like sometimes I get to hold on to stuff a little longer, but no, that had to go on to the next reviewer. I love the tie hang. I wish I bought it. I wish I had one. I just don't have anywhere to put it. That's just really what it comes down to. BS513 says, I just received the GR Uber bus. I hear a difference immediately. Would you be interested in reviewing it if I ship it to you and compared to Vinshine? I don't like GR Research. I have not an aversion for him. I have disdain for him. I don't like him. I think he's a bad person. I think he's someone who is a little bit manipulative. I'm not saying his products are bad. His products are probably fine, but I will never forget the time he made a video with Ron and just took everyone's inventory and judged everyone and implied and clearly said he was better than all of us and that we have to learn from him if we want to be better and things like that. And it was so arrogant and off-putting. And I believe that's the real him. And I believe the guy you see on camera who talks softly and kind of with a smile and kind of has that good grandpa energy, I think that's a mask. I think that's the character, and the real him is the arrogant cocksucker who thinks he's better than everyone and is more than happy to criticize everyone and talk down to everyone. He questions everyone's integrity. He said we were all not trustworthy. Fuck him. I'll never review his products. Not only that, in that same video, bro, he literally said that other reviewers are not qualified to review his product. We're not good enough because his product is so good. We might not, we don't have the skill to use it properly and get the best out of it, which is crazy. So he's telling me that I do not have a good chance at setting up his product properly. Me as a reviewer who does that like all the time, but a customer can. If it's gonna sound like shit in my home, then maybe he has shitty products. I don't know, you know. But yeah, BS. Like, nah, fuck that guy, bro. He's an asshole. He's a major asshole, bro. I'm not gonna review his products, and he wouldn't send them to me anyway because he thinks I'm not qualified to review them. He has literally said that in the public domain. He made a 1-hour video with like him and Ron just shitting on everyone, being super disrespectful. And they were laughing like little schoolgirls, bro. It was like embarrassing shit. 18I says, if so, do you feel anything changed since your initial review? No, so I don't have the tie hang, but up until the day I packed it up and sent it back, I loved it. It's like other people talking to each other. Sorry, guys. Taffy repugnance is a good one. That sounds like an expensive word. Yeah, I wouldn't say I have strong negative feelings for Hype I Swan. Just like, indifferent to like a slight aversion, right? Ancient says Lamau. Peter, who are you talking about? LOL, I missed it. GR research. Austin says, feeling the chat today. Sorry for all the questions. It's okay. I don't mind the questions. I actually like the questions. This is what I do this for. Hypothetical, Dax, Live Harmony or Denafrips Pontus 15th? I haven't heard the Pontus 15th, bro. I haven't heard it. But the Pontus 15th is supposed to be the old Venus, which is pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. I would say this, the Live Harmony, you're going to get that if you value its slightly smaller size. And you're going to get the Pontus 15th if you value its slightly lower price. I think both of them are fantastic. Sebastian says, hey, sorry I'm late. I thought we were going to take a nap. That's going to be a joke forever, I feel like. What if on April 1st I did a live stream where it was just me sleeping? That's it. That's the whole live stream. I bet you people would watch it to see if I would wake up and do something. PS says, thank you for your input. Peter says, Danny from GR Research, thanks for saying who. Yeah. Look, unlike him, here's the irony. In his video where he talks shit about everyone, he didn't even have the stones to name anyone. He just made these little schoolgirl implications. His level of criticism was like as high as it could be, but he didn't have the stones to mention anyone by name. Very cowardly, in my opinion. So yes, if I badmouth someone, I will say who I'm talking about for the most part, unless it's just like unnecessary. But all right, you sent me a link to the Swans. I don't want to review them, bro. I don't know. Peter says wormy. Yeah, he kind of wormy. Yeah. Hey, Odie says, what happened to your KC62? I still have it. It's behind my couch. It's right there somewhere behind my couch. I've been using it for years. It's part of my casual system. The KEF KC62 is awesome. It's not the best sub in the world. It's a very niche subwoofer. But if you have a major space constraint, you have to maybe put it behind your TV, behind your couch, under a small coffee table. There's nothing like it. It's incredible, man. Papa, no, we do these streams monthly. Sometimes I do 2 in a month, but usually I try to commit to 1 live stream a month. Ancient Aliens, I normally don't like the Swan look either for some reason, but those look good to me. Yeah, they don't look bad. I got an aversion, bro. I couldn't tell you why. Hayodi says relocated it. It was always been under the TV. Oh, bro, it had over here, the KC62. It hasn't been there for years. Maybe 3 years ago, I moved it from there to behind the couch. Yeah, but wow, that's a really good memory you have. You are correct. I did used to have it on top of the media console, and I had a different couch. But if you look at my couch, I'm sure you can see the bottom of my couch. It's angled away from the wall, so it creates a perfect little nook, where I can just like slide the KC62 in down there. So I took it off my media console so it could look less congested, and it's behind my couch now. And it sounds better there, James Masterful says, I kind of like Ron's videos, but Danny comes across as condescending. Hey, bro, even you can like anyone you like. You guys don't have to dislike someone just because I dislike them. If you like Ron's videos, there's nothing wrong with that. And even if you like Danny's videos too, I don't mind. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, you're stupid if you like them because I don't like them. Guys, watch whatever content creator you like. I don't mind. I'm not the toxic girlfriend type. I promise. Tappy says, I was thinking of getting a KC62 because it is for desktop setup space is an issue, but it is expensive. Yes, it is very expensive. Yeah. Let's see what they cost right now. I'm sure the price has gone up just like it has for everything else. Fucking $1,700 now. $1,700 now. There's an open box one on headphones.com for $12.99. But 1,200, 1,700? Damn. You know, here's the problem with it. There's nothing else like it. There's nothing else like it. So you gotta just pay the higher price. You know what I mean? It's like if you want a Porsche 911 and you don't want to pay the price, oh well, because there's nothing like a Porsche 911 besides a Porsche 911. The KC62 doesn't really have a competitor. There is the SVS Micro, but it's not a competitor. It's not the same type. It's not as small, first of all. And it doesn't do what the KC62 does, you know? The KC62 at very low volumes will dip into the 20s and below. The Micro is not really doing anything below 25 hertz no matter what. Still a very capable sub, you know, for the size, but let's see, where did I leave off? Hey OD says wirelessly connected? Question mark. Yes, the KC62 that's behind the couch is connected using a REL HT Air wireless adapter, and I've literally never had a problem. It is a KC62, which means they don't turn on right away. They only can be set to off or auto. There's no constant on. So yes, I do have the typical 5 to 10 second delay from like when I turn on Netflix, you know, that like dong sound that comes on, you know, when Netflix first loads, there's no bass, you know what I mean? But that dong from Netflix triggers the sub to turn on. And then about 10 seconds later, it's on. So when I, you know, go to play my show or movie or whatever, then I have bass, you know, which is a little bit annoying because like it would be nice to have like bass with the Netflix dong intro, but it's just how the sub is. If you have a KC62, you just have to accept. It takes 10 seconds to turn on from the time it accepts signal. It is what it is. BS says, any chance of Wim sending you their sub for a review? They probably would if I ask them, guys. The Chinese companies are actually really nice to work with. They're always so polite, and that's something I love about working with Chinese. They're really, really nice people. But it's a vented 8-inch, and I don't like vented 8-inch subs. They tend to be peaky because so look, the way vented subs work is you have the port tuning frequency, and at the port tuning frequency, you generally get about double your output, right? That port tuning frequency, if it's high, like 50, 55, the way cheap clip subs are, it's going to sound boxy and echoey and localize a lot, and you're not going to extend very low because you're not really going to get extension. Too much extension, say, you know, 10 hertz below your tuning frequency, the sub's kind of going to start to roll off nasty after that. And you can't tune the sub's port tuning frequency below the driver's resonant frequency, okay? Generally not a problem with, you know, 10s and 12s, you know, but these smaller drivers tend to have higher resonant frequencies. The resonant frequency of a lot of 8s is about 50 hertz, you know. There are some that are like 44, 43. I'm sure there's some that are 38, 39, but so if the resonant frequency on the low side is like 45, then they're going to have the tuning frequency around 50, and that's just not the type of bass I like. It's going to be very peaky, and yeah, I don't want to review that. I don't want to review stuff if I think it's not going to be enjoyable for me. And I am just guessing here, just to be clear, BS. Floda says, good morning from Australia. Good morning, mate. I met a girl from Australia once. Her job was she was like a deckhand on like mega yachts. Crazy job. Crazy job. Taffy says 1700 USD is 2340 CAD, more than I'm willing to spend. Jeez, is that what a KC62 is? Yeah, it's a lot of money, bro. That is a lot of money. Look, dude, if you don't need something that small, just get a Rel 1003 Mark II. The Rel 1003 Mark II has been my favorite small subwoofer 3 years in a row. 3 years in a row, it has won the award for me for best compact subwoofer under $1,000. It is so damn good for the money and size. Just get a Rel 1003 Mark II. You won't regret it. I promise you. Taffy says his current sub is a Totem Storm, and he thought that was expensive at 1100 CAD. Yeah, look, making bass is just cost money. Hado D says, break this down real quick. Rel 1510 or the big brother of the KC62, the KC92. Any chance of a Perlison review? Yeah, there'll be a Perlison review. I had a Perlison sub here, but the delivery driver dropped it down the stairs and it broke. As you can imagine, 50, 60 pound subwoofer just being thrown down the stairs would get damaged. So, it's still powered on and it still played bass, but like the Bluetooth antenna was like disconnecting and it got thrown down the stairs. What do you expect, right? So I had to send it back and they confirmed, they're like, yes, yeah, this is damaged. We need to get you a new one. So they're going to get me a new one. But yeah, if I was between the Rel HT1510 or KC92, if it was for music and movies or music only, 1510 all day long, no questions. The reason you get a KC92 is you need a small sub, but you want it to have as much extension as possible. You're not going to listen crazy loud. It's primarily for movies. You just, you're listening to movies at around 80 dB and you want some good room rumble effects from a compact sub. That's the KC92. In terms of fidelity, sound power, sense of scale, the 1510 is going to be the easy winner. For sure. Hope that helps. And we got 87 thumbs up. That's a lot. That might be the most likes we ever got. That might be the most likes I've ever gotten in a live stream. Let me see what a KC92 even costs these days. Oh, not at 2,500? Yeah, that's a no-go, boss. That is a no-go. At 2,500, I mean, look, if you don't need the small size, you could just get a Rhythmic G22 instead. A Rhythmic G22 would murder a KC92. Murder. You only buy the KC92 because you need a really small sub that still gets very low. Because it can get very low for how small it is. It's crazy. There are other small subs that are really good though. JL E110. Taffy. Yeah, don't do that one. Yeah. Yeah, that's no good. I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, I've heard the KEF MIE range. Yeah. There's no here's the thing. In a vacuum, there's nothing wrong with the KEF Cube MIE range. You know, but the problem is the Rel HT range exists and it's priced similarly or cheaper. And it's fucking superior. Like not by a little, like by a lot. Let me see what the Cube 12 currently cost. Or the Cube 10, sorry. Yeah, $8.99 for a Cube 10. I think they have 200 watts. They don't even have that much power. Let me check. Oh, 300 RMS. Okay, okay. But a Rel 1003 Mark II is $699. Why would you spend 200 more on a Kef Cube 10? Why? There's just no reason, you know? There's a really, really, really big performance gap between what the Kef KC range could do, which I love, and what the MIE range can do, which I think is overpriced. Personally, I love Kef. They make a lot of fantastic products. I love most Kef products, not MIE, not Cube. Rel HT range, more value, more performance, more better everything, no matter what it is. Hope that helps. Oh, Kevin, if you've got T5 eyes now, yeah, just run those with the Evokes. That'll sound great. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to follow Rel's recommendation. Rel's recommendation is based around room size and tonal matching. You know, it's generally very good advice. But you can do whatever you want, especially if you already own T5 eyes. Dual T5 eyes are great. You know what I mean? And that'll be a great data point for you because if you like that a lot and you're itching for an upgrade later, then you can upgrade to something like a pair of T7Xs down the line and you can sell your T5 eyes. I'd imagine you could probably get like 600, maybe 700 for the pair, you know, about $349 each, I think is a good, fair used price, assuming they're in mint condition. Peter says, in case the stream ends abruptly, when I tuned in today, you were talking about odd comments. On the last live stream, talking about I was posting on a New York deli, not because of the food, but because of the personality of the shop owner saying, forget about it. How you doing? This titled The Best Italian Sandwich in New York with Giovanni Shorts Italian food. That's okay. I like that. I vibe with the Italian delis. One time I was in Pittsburgh and I ordered a sandwich from or a sandwich from like it was kind of like a pop-up stall, you know, like at a fair, but it was like more permanent than that. I guess you could say it was more like an outdoor little restaurant. And I'm like, no tomatoes. And the dude looked at me and goes, hey kid, it comes with tomatoes. You don't like them, take them off yourself. It's like, okay. It was hilarious. It was hilarious. Taffy says, okay, thanks. Looking at the Rel HT sub now. Yeah, it's literally superior to anything from the MIE range. It is what it is. I don't make these products. I don't own these companies. It's not my fault Kef didn't make the MIE range better. It's over DSP'd. It's, yeah. I don't want to bash them, but just, yeah, I think I said enough. Peter, you think I'm not a big food guy? I fucking love food. I borderline have an eating disorder. Are you kidding me? Do you have any idea how much of my time is spent thinking about food and what I'm either going to cook next or eat next or looking forward to my next meal? I am an obese person in a regular man's body. I have the mind of someone with a full-blown eating disorder, my bro. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Like 1000%. Middle Earth says if a wee bit of a 2A talk is cool, anything new in the safe. The algorithm doesn't like that, bro. You know, but I do. I'll keep it general. I did something kind of cool. I did a P365X macro, chopped the grip down to 12, um, put the slide of the short P365 on there, and added the Radian Ramjet. If you're, I think you're, yeah, you're in the Discord. Remind me, I'll send you a picture. It's steezy as fuck. And I'm doing off body on that because the hernia injury has been really acting up lately. I'm actually going to see the surgeon tomorrow. So I got to do some grooming today. Um, I have a feeling the surgery didn't take, and I might unfortunately have to have another one, which fucking sucks. Big fat dicks. But out of all the injuries someone can have, hernia ain't that big of a deal. Lower abdominal, it's like down here, just to be clear. A lot of people apparently, when I said hernia, they thought I was saying hemorrhoids. So like hundreds of people thought I was going in for a butthole surgery, which I thought was hilarious. Taffy, they have a quote for me on the HT1003. What is it? What is it? Copy and paste it in the chat. I want to see it. I didn't know that. Oh, I got to restart the music. Actually, yeah, let's see. Let's get some Nyquil on here. We'll go to Rel's website, rel.net. Shop subwoofers HT. Oh, 1003 is on sale right now, $649 instead of $699. Yeah, that's worth it. Very good deal. $50 off doesn't sound like a lot, but these days, any discount is a good discount, man. Yep. I don't see anything from me on their website. Oh, yeah. Nemo propaganda. The HT1003 Mark II is just on another level. Great sub. I love it. Potential product of the year. I don't care what descriptor you want to use for sound quality. The HT1003 Mark II is going to be very, very, very difficult to beat. Yep. I said that 3 years ago and I still mean it. 100%. 100%. I stand behind that quote. Oh, yeah. When you click on the link, it takes you to my review. Damn, my beard is huge in that review. Holy shit. I forgot how big my beard used to be. Good Lord, that thing is massive. Should I bring that back? Guys, go look up my Rel HT1003 review. Tell me if I should bring that size beard back. It's like coming out of my face maybe 3 inches. And it's like so much bigger. Oh my God. I think that's too much. I think the look I have now is better, but you guys tell me, I'd be curious. I see Carston is a fellow tomato hater. Respect. Yeah, tomatoes are cool. I don't mind tomatoes actually on certain sandwiches. But what tomatoes on a sandwich tend to do is make the sandwich a little too tall, On something like a club, especially that's already so tall, the balance and contrast the tomato brings is good, but I still usually take them out because it's too much height. Like, how much can I open my mouth? Like, to like eat a club, I have to like unhinge my jaw already. Oh, okay. Middle Earth, you say, okay, yeah. Ask me about it on the Discord, bro. It's fresh as fuck. I fucking love it. Middle Earth says, do you listen to any atmospheric melodic black metal? Love it. Yep, love it. I don't know if this is in that genre, but what is it called? It's a song by Arch Enemy called Avalanche. That's kind of like symphonic metal. Really love it. Austin says, sending positive energy on the health. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. Taffy says, do women like beards like that? Probably not. Taffy, I don't give a fuck what the women like. I like women. Don't get me wrong. But what I have found most women, what they say they like, and then the guy they actually go for, big disconnect, huge disconnect. Give you an example. I had a female friend, good looking girl. Asked her, what kind of man do you like? She's like, ideally, 5'10" or more. I don't need super tall because I'm not super tall, but like 5'9", 5'10" or more. Um, I want him to come from a prominent family that the dad is like a strong earner. And I'm like, that's weird. You want the father to have money, not the kid? And she's like, well, yeah, I'm still young. This girl was like 22. And she's like, I don't expect a 23, 24-year-old to be like wealthy. But if his father's wealthy, that's a good indication that he'll be successful. I'm like, okay. And she gave me the rest of the laundry list. I was friends with this girl for 7 years. Every single one of my homies she hooked up with was like my most trash loser friends, bro. Okay. I'm talking like dudes with DUIs that just got out of jail, dudes that have like busted up cars, like no money, poor family, fucking 5'5", 5'6" tall. And there's nothing wrong with men like that. I'm not dogging those guys, right? But like, dude, I never saw her hook up with a guy the way she described ever, ever. And she's engaged now. And even the dude she's engaged to is nothing like what she described. So what women say and then what is actually like the truth, a little bit of a disconnect. That's what I believe. Austin says, my wife walked by on you going off on hemorrhoids versus hernias. Best out of context, walk by in audio. Yeah, she's like, what's going on here? Do I need to make you a doctor's appointment? Tappy says, cheese and tomatoes, an English classic. Fun fact, I was born in London. Carl says, on Discord, question mark? I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? Kevin says, one last comment. I applaud the choice of Nemo Audio Project, similar to the Blair Witch Project. Both are of the smaller indie type, but deliver high quality for their fans and followers. I didn't even realize that connection. That's funny. Yeah. Alyssa, so Cars is saying, Alyssa leaving Arch Enemy, good or bad? I mean, anytime a band singer, leaves and we get a new one, we will always feel the original one was better because that's what we fell in love with originally. But she's not even the new girl. The current singer's been their singer for a long time, right? She's amazing too. Her voice is a little bit different. It's a tiny bit more girly, but yeah, I mean, they're both incredible, man. They are, wow. Yeah, I got no problem with it. Unless the new girl left, I don't stay super up to date. If they're on their third singer, I just don't know about that. Neil says, hey, Nemo, we have interesting conversations on your Discord, 2-channel speakers. Started 2029. What are your thoughts about it? On what? What do you mean? Is something happening in the 2-channel speaker section? $2.29? What is that? 8:29 p.m. you're talking about? Sorry, bro. I'm not sure what you're referring to. I don't want to dig around in the Discord right now just because I'll be leaving people waiting, Yeah, Discord, the chat gamer app. Yeah. I mean, it's more just a communication app, but yeah, gamers use it a lot too. Oh, damn. Carston, I didn't know the newer girl left. Do they have a new singer yet? I mean, it'll all depend on how the new singer is, Carl says J Yagi clan on Discord. I don't know what you mean by that. Does Jay have a Discord? I didn't know that. I feel like I was the first YouTuber for hi-fi reviews that had a Discord. Peter says, 2 tall sandwiches need structural engineering chefs or tomatoes and basil grown in organic compost. Top line olive oil, salt and pepper on a plate, knife and fork. Forget about it. You know what? I can see that. Carl Van Doren says no copyright. I don't get it. I don't understand what you mean. No copyright. No context there, bro. Anyway, guys, fire off your questions. We are entering what I'll probably call the tail end of this stream. It's been about 2 hours and 10 minutes. No copyright on what videos? I don't like this song at all. Gonna bring up synthwave again. See the questions. Give me a second, guys. The tasteful thicknesses, is this the Vietnamese feet stream? No, you're in the wrong stream, my guy. Carl says sign up extended videos. Bro, you need to type more. There's no context to what you're saying. I'm sorry. I'm not picking up what you're putting down at all. BS says like the new logo and channel name. What prompted the change? Algorithm didn't like the previous name. Sounded divisive. Had me flagged. Was limiting my reach. No, hey Dodie, I'm not going to try to break the record for the last stream. No way. The last stream was so long, I had to take a bathroom break. No. PacWest Audio Club uses for club members. All right. Oh, all right, guys. I think this is it. If you got your burning desires, ask them now. I'll wait like a minute or two. No, I don't know what .ape or .ogg hater is. If you got any burning desires or questions, get them out now. I'm going to let a minute or so pass, and then we're going to wrap this thing up. I'm probably going to make some food. I also got to meet up with someone on Facebook Marketplace. I got a set of tires he's buying off me. Thank you for everyone who tuned in. I do appreciate it. We had a good stream. Hey, Dodie says, will 2 T9X suffice for HT and music? Music, 1 T9X will suffice for music for most people. Theater, depends on your personal taste. Yeah, because, 10-inch sub, right? Forget the fact that it's, a REL T9X. It's a 10-inch sub. It's a small sub, So you might want to add like a 1205 Mark II for LFE down the line, unless you don't want the most room rumbles. But, most 10s are not going to have the most powerful room rumble effects, The REL T9X is about a 25, 26 hertz sub. Incredible fidelity. Some of the best fidelity for the money. But, it is a small sub. Dual 10s for theater is on the smaller side. So, Peter, can I EQ the Polks? I mean, EQing stuff is free. Definitely try it. Absolutely try it. Why wouldn't you? Yeah, go for it. BS513 says sub 10 versus Bucart sub 10 versus T9X. Completely different products. The T9X is a purest sub, best sound quality you can get for the money. That's what it does. The Bucart sub 10 is a smart sub. It's a modern sub. It's got room correction and features like that. It's got a unique shape and form factor. If you're going to use that room correction or you need that room correction, then the sub 10 is a great choice. If you're not, and you're just looking for the best bass fidelity humanly possible, that's the T9X. So they're just really different, man. Yeah, Jason, we'll have a Clarity 4.2 review at some point. I'm still putting some time on them. Roy, subwoofer plate amps can just fail. It's happened to me. All electronics can fail. It's just something that happens. It's probably not your fault. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Peter, stop it. Stop it. Do not do that. Just buy a different pair of speakers if the EQing doesn't work. You're putting the smiley face. I know you're joking. All right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up. In closing, holidays are coming up, guys. Be good with your family. Spend time with them. Try not to bring up divisive topics at the Christmas party. Yeah, try not to argue with the family. We all got that uncle or cousin we don't like. Just be cool with them. Take a breath. Don't be divisive. Don't argue. I promise you, no one at the Christmas party wants to hear nothing about what you saw on the news, guys. Don't do it. Don't go there. Trust me. I got 2 uncles that haven't talked in 5 years over stuff like that. It's ridiculous. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We do have some, I don't have any content lined up yet. I need to film tonight, maybe. I got a lot of review gear in. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I see everyone saying like thank you and happy holidays. Yeah, everyone, thank you for tuning in, guys. If you got any questions, feel free to jump in that free Discord if you want to chat more. Everyone, take care of yourself. Be healthy.